She said, what you see is a miracle. She says, I've never been able to do this for years. Come here, sweetheart, come here. Look at this, brother. You've not been able to do this?
For years.
How many years?
Years, for at least 2 years.
At least 2 years. She's not been able to walk at all.
No, I walk with crutches, but my legs was like this. I couldn't move them apart. I can move myself. No, I don't want it.
Look at that, brother. Well, give the Lord the glory.
This one also is from that same meeting. It's a little bit more difficult to hear than the previous ones, but I really couldn't leave this one out, as what the spirit that is controlling this lady makes her do here is something that I must show you. She is giving her testimony of being healed of spinal problems that she had since she was 3 years old. When Benny Hinn tells her to bend down to give proof of the healing, as she bends down the first time, you can hear her say the words, "Hail Satan." It's a little bit faint, as when she bends down, she moves away from the microphone that's in the man's hand who is standing next to her. Then Benny Hinn tells her to bend down again a second time, and as she extends her hands out, she bends down and says the words, "Worship." If you have problems hearing this at normal speed, listen very carefully when I play it at slower speeds. I'll increase the volume level where she makes these two statements. It should help you hear it. So listen carefully to this lady's voice, and you'll hear her saying, "Hail Satan," very faintly as she bends down the first time, and then as she extends her hands out and bends down the second time, she says the words, "Worship." Listen for the words, "Hail Satan," "Worship."
Bend down again. 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 Is all the pain gone? Oh, let the power of God go through. What's happening? What's happening to you?
Spinal problems since I
What?
was 3 years old. Spinal problems since I was 3 years old when I fell down Satan's stick. I've been under chiropractor since I was 12.
How about now?
No, God's healed me.
Bend down. Bend down again. Is all the pain gone? Jesus, thanks for your mercy. Oh, glory.
One very important point that I'd like to make. Now let me take you back to this lady's testimony. This is acting that would fool any one of us. There are tears coming from this lady's eyes as she's telling everyone how she can run now, whereas she couldn't do so before. Benny Hinn calls a man onto the platform who is supposed to be a doctor to explain more fully the disability that this lady had. The doctor seems to know what he's talking about, as he even corrects the lady by giving her a more specific definition of her condition. Then as the lady with a broken voice says that she hasn't been able to run since she was 13 years old, the congregation responds by applauding the situation. Now while the congregation is clapping, which creates a lot of noise, you can hear the doctor and this lady exchanging a few words. You can hear the doctor say the words, can you help our Satan?" And the woman answers by saying, "Yeah, I can name a demon." I'll play this for you in 2 sections, as it'll help you hear every word they say. What the doctor says is not as clear as what the lady says, but you'll still be able to hear it. Listen carefully first to this doctor's voice, and you'll hear him say the words, can you help our Satan?" to what this lady says in answer to that. Listen for the words, "Yeah, I can name a demon."
She called it, what did you call it again?
Vascular necrosis.
Explain that.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Vascular necrosis.
That means the vessels themselves are just dying.
The vessels dying.
Yeah, they're just getting not enough circulation. And where is the necrosis?
Both my hips.
So it's avascular necrosis.
Yes, and I got those metal hips and I ain't been able to walk right.
Yeah.
But just running, I haven't run since I was 13 years old.
How old are you now?
26.
Let's move on now on a program called Melbourne Alive on Channel 31 on Melbourne Television. These two men, Chris Fields and David Cartledge, introduced this Pensacola revival movement to their viewers, saying that this was a move of God. These two men who occupy positions of leadership call themselves pastors, but in fact a more accurate name for what they are is blasphemers rather than pastors, as what they basically do is teach gullible Christians that the Holy Spirit is a demon. This they do when with a seared conscience they look into the camera and tell their viewers that the manifestations that the people are experiencing in these meetings is the work of the Holy Spirit. Devoid of all discernment and unable to distinguish the difference between demons and the Holy Spirit, these men blaspheme the Spirit of the Lord by attributing the work of demons to the work of the Holy Spirit. As the demons do the moving in these meetings, they say that it is the Holy Spirit. When they do this, they commit blasphemy by calling a demonic manifestation a manifestation of the Holy Spirit. Let me show you this most pitiful sight here, a sight that many of us would have witnessed before in people who have been taken over by demons and put into psychiatric hospitals. Watch as these two deluded men who have been put forward by demons to lead Christians astray try to convince their viewers that it is the power of the Holy Spirit that is making this lady do this. I'll play you a few segments of them talking about this Pensacola revival movement, and then I'll show you some of this lady's manifestation.
You mentioned in a previous interview a couple of weeks ago something about this Dr. Yonggi Cho having something to do with it. Now, this is the guy that pastors the biggest church in the world, I believe.
Yes, about 800,000 members.
Nearly 1 million people in his church. He's a Korean guy.
That's right.
What has he got to do with Pensacola, Florida?
Well, I don't think anything directly. I'm not sure that he's ever been there. In fact, he did not even know the place existed. But about 6 years ago, he was in the city of Seattle. And during his prayer time in the day, praying for the American church, which he does every day. So grateful are they to the Americans for help him save Korea.
No, I thought they might have felt the church needed all the prayer it can get.
Well, it does that too, and that's one reason why they're continuing to pray earnestly, and he mobilises all his people to do that. But during the prayer time, in the hotel room, he saw a map on the wall and was drawn by the Lord to the map. So he came over and put his finger on the spot and began to prophesy that out of this place God would raise up a revival that would spread around the world. And when he took his finger off the map, it was on the city of Pensacola, which he said he had never heard of.
Well, some people might find that a bit awkward when it actually happens, because the video clip we're about to show people of this girl called Alison Ward, apparently this happened in the first few months of the revival. She was a Christian kid, and she but was sort of pretty uncommitted, and the revival that was taking place really grabbed her life. But then she ended up with this phenomenon where she was just sort of shaking, almost like an epileptic or something or other.
Well, that's what it was the first time I saw it.
Right. And did you see this girl when you were over there at all? Did you see her?
Well, she wasn't there in the meetings.
There were other people like that, though?
Exactly. We saw a number of ladies particularly who were just moved on in what they call a gift of intercession. And they pray earnestly for people to get right with God, right through the meetings.
Well,